Permit me to definitely recognize at this juncture to recognize the presence of the Chairperson Board of Directors for Yonna Foreign Exchange Bureau, Managing Director for Yonna Islamic Microfinance Institution. We are very much grateful to have this next institution. You are not our sister institution. We gave birth to you. It's been easy for us. And we were going to the farm with the pregnancy, to the rice fields with the pregnancy, and sometimes heavy rains will hit us along the way when we are coming home, and still with the pregnancy. And having given birth, we went to labor. We couldn't give birth to you. We were operated. We went through shares to give birth to you, and we were struggling still, and the mother still lacked blood. And to have a blood that was compatible to mom's blood was an issue for us. So we went to an army barracks to find a gentleman who was able to donate us. Then the mother survived, and the child was definitely been taken care of. At some point, we lost confidence, but on the whole, you're gonna make it. So this is how the struggle was, ladies and gentlemen. So Yonna Foreign Exchange Bureau gave birth to Yonna Islamic Microfinance, and today we are very much grateful about the job that you guys are doing. So the Managing Director, thank you very much and welcome to the high table. Can we give him a round of applause? Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, the man who really molded me, the man of integrity, the man of honor, whose appetite for helping young people knows no limit, whose pragmatic leadership styles is second to none, who can tell the truth at spot and deal with issues, who can mold the life of the young people into the right direction and make them young leaders. To be honest with you, this institution, Yonna Forex Bureau, has molded a young leader, has, changed a leadership style of this country. All what I was able to do, I don't want to talk about my portfolio at this platform, please, for few reasons. But then, I am able to make it to where I am because of the General Manager of Yonna Foreign Exchange Bureau, to be quite frank with you. Can we give a round of applause to Mr. Momodu Baro? Man of wisdom, integrity, sincerity, and honesty, who serves his life for humanity. Consultation is his key working techniques. Inclusiveness, you can't talk about that. His response to issues is so fast and so swift. So we are experiencing all what we are experiencing today because of the gentleman sitting before us. His doors are open. His office is a bantaba. You can eat there if the need be. So, Mr. Barrow, we want to say thank you very much for the job that you're doing. I can see young men and women love you so much, and they always want to work with you. And I could remember last time I visited your office. Any of them who step into the office, they will be laughing. This is what we really need. But if you do something wrong, definitely he can caution you in a minute, and to make sure that what should be done is done. You're not Foreign Exchange Bureau. The reason why the staffs, always if you are not in the office, we know the numbers that we have on our signboards, immediately somebody rings them. You get the Managing Director or the General Manager. So he is always there to help the customers, not just the customers, but to help the staffs and to make sure that you do your job very well. Can you help me to kindly welcome the General Manager of Yonna Foreign Exchange Bureau to the high table? Mr. Barrow, you're highly welcome. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to recognize the presence of doctor who has also been very good and very instrumental to help us constitute Yonna Islamic Microfinance. With his finance background, he has been very helpful to us, and with respect to Sharia compliance issues, and this has definitely helped us to be able to stand on a firm footing to ensure that we are able to open 1-2 branches as an Islamic microfinance institution, to ensure that we are really Islamic compliant. We don't just say we are Islamic microfinance institution and the compliance is not there. So he was there very well to ensure that, and we are very much compliant with the principles, so that the institutions that are regulating us as a microfinance institutions will not find us wanting. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I here recognize the presence of Doctor. Thank you very much for your presence with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I would also love to recognize the presence of Mr. Lamin C. Sao, Head of Operations, right? Business Development, Head of Business Development for Yonna Islamic Microfinance. Can we give him a round of applause? These are also great people, to be honest with you. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to recognize the presence of the Head of Department for Compliance, Head of Department for Reconciliation and Postings for Yonna Foreign Exchange Bureau, Mr. Abubakari Jallo. Can we give him a round of applause? Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to recognize the presence of the Head of Finance, Head of Accounts, Madam Kadi Sise for Yonna Foreign Exchange Bureau. At this juncture, I would love to development, marketing, and customer service. She is the head of the department, 3-in-1 department. She's a very strong lady. So give her a round of applause. At this juncture, I would love to recognize the presence of all the departmental heads of Yonna Foreign Exchange Bureau. All right. And also, I have been reminded that from the list that I supposed to read to you, that it contains the name of our able boss, Mr. President of Mr. Yunus Toure. Can we give him a round of applause? And at this juncture, all the departmental heads of Yonna Foreign Exchange Bureau and Yonna Islamic, let me say, Human Resources Management, Departments of Reconciliations and Postings, Yonna Enterprise also here present to ensure that we have the foods in the market and the food with quality and sufficiency. So respectfully recognized. And the staff at outlets of from Koina, down to, let's say, Brifu. If you were there, I could remember I made a trip there when the branch wasn't open by then. But I am aware that it does exist today. And coming down to the sweetest part of the country, Kiang, and definitely those that came from that part of the country, I greet you all. And going down to, definitely, I know we exist in Nyomi, and we also exist in different parts of the country. So all the staff, whoever is able to make to today's occasion, and who is unable to make to today's occasion because of 1 or 2 reasons, we want to say thank you very much for the great job that you've done throughout the 12-month cycle. And it's not been easy, it's been challenging, it's been struggling. So at this juncture, definitely, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to definitely invite Mrs. Fatou Cham to definitely take us through a few things before the corporate event starts. So thank you very much for now. Until then, my attention is needed to do anything. I think, yeah, thank you very much. We can't leave this stage empty, right? I don't know where I see. Yes, we can't leave this stage empty before Madam comes. I have a question. Last time I could remember asking a question which says, who is the funniest guy in the company, and one action that he normally does. I was deliberately called by one beautiful lady that I am the funniest, and she did one of the actions that I always do. Today is going to be definitely different. Before Madam mounts the stage, we will have a short activity, a very, very short activity. Yes. And this activity, the winner of this activity, definitely will go home with something. And this activity will be the most important activity. Right. But it's only for staff who are working at provincial outlets. Provincial outlets. When we say provincial outlets, I think we understand, right? From Sibanor downwards to other parts of the country. Only Sibanor in West Coast. So those that are, so Westfield, Tabokoto, and that of Tipa Garage, and that of Bruceby, and that of Brikama, Uncle Aliu and your team, excuse me for that segregation. Please. Who can definitely tell me the first Yonna branch since the inception of the institution? The first Yonna branch since the inception of the institution. The first branch where the operation starts since the inception of the institution. Yes. If you want to answer, you will definitely tell your name, where you work, which zone, and which branch actually you work from. If you are able to answer this question, if the branch exists in Koina, once we resume, the person will be transferred to Koina. If the branch exists in Kiang, as far as Kiang, the person will be transferred there. If the branch exists in Banjul, you'll be transferred to Banjul. So this is an activity, and this is the task that I'm giving to the HR manager. It's a difficult task for you, but I want to see how efficiently the department could make a quick deployment, and this is going to be a very important. You will be transferred to that branch immediately once we resume back. Who can answer this question? Who can answer this question? Okay, tell me your branch. Stand up and tell us your branch. Lamen Koto. You opened that branch? You did. How do you expect to go to Lamen Koto if we transfer you? Madam Kanye. Madam Kanye. Madam Kanye, where do you work? Brikamaba, with who? Fatkonat, only two of you. Okay. Now what we are going to do, instead of having two ladies in Brikamaba office, before you two will not be part of the activity, then you can go to Lamen Koto, then this one can go to Brikamaba. We can have a man and a lady in Brikamaba now. Right? Let's do that. Brikamaba is a very busy branch, and you are fast, you can really work. So go there and help us. Who can definitely intervene? The question that we have asked. So, not because of the activity, nobody is confident now? Huh? Man from Sarengai. Yes. Come here. But if you are able to answer the question, you will tell us when you come to Yonna and did you have access to those information? Right? Yeah. Come here. Come here. Yeah.
Yes, my name is Yahya Jammeh, operating in United States of Diabuku. The first branch is Bakau.
The first branch?
Bakau.
Wow. I will ask I have a single panel, and I will ask him if the answer is correct. Then I will not be a judge. I'm a referee, right? So he will be a judge. Mr. Barrow, I give you that task to qualify the statement if it is correct or not. Bakau. So Bakau is the first branch. How long have you been in Diabuku Batapa? For 6 months. Starting from which month? From August. August to date. August, June, July, August. Huh? Koina. All right. Then, okay. Then the HR will see to see whether we're really going to do that. Yes. He's good at Diabuku. The managing director is saying you're good at Diabuku. That's why I said I'm United States of Diabuku. Okay, so thank you very much for this activity. So this tells us that we read the history of the company. Thank you very much. We read the history of the company. We need to know our company. We are over several branches across the country. But the very first branch that we've operated that gave birth to all of you has to be known to each and every one of you. Today is the first day I'm doing this, to be honest with you. Yeah. To be quite frank with you. Today is the very first day I'm knowing this. My answer was going to be bamboo tree. Yeah, to be honest. So thank you very much, Sarangai or Diabu Badra staff for this. Madam Fadicham, can you come to the stage and continue the activity?
Can you come on? Let him come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am told that some are here with their spouses, and those that are here with their spouses, we want to say welcome to your family members, the family members who are here present. And if you invite them, we want to welcome them to today's occasion. We share this event with them. Without their support, you cannot work. And you need mental steadiness and psychological level-headed person is able to work very well. So the home contributes a lot to us. And if they make a home a hellfire for us, we won't be able to deliver as expected. So any family member who has come here today, we want to say welcome. But then we would love each and every one of you to come to the front seats and occupy the seats that are in the middle and in front. I am told by the organizers of the occasion that some seats are empty in the middle and they want to see them filled up. Can we come and fill those spaces? Can somebody help them, guide them so that they can fill those spaces so that they don't sit on a seat that belongs to somebody else? Can we, Uncle, can we help so that those seats, we don't have empty seats in the middle? At this juncture, we would love to give a platform to the Managing Director for Yonna Islamic Microfinance to definitely give a such statement. Mr. Yankuba Bambure, can you please give a such statement to the event? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. MC. members of the high table, Mr. Ture, Mr. Kanyi, Mr. Barrow, various managers of the various institutions of Yonna, the Yonna group, staff of both institutions, spouses, families that are in presence, and members of the media. It's a pleasure to be here. I consider ourselves here, the staff of Yonna, not just Yonna Forex, but the staff of Yonna, as very fortunate, aren't we? Yes, we are. For various reasons, particularly we at Yonna Islamic Microfinance, the children or the child of Yonna Forex, we recognize the fact that our mother, Yonna Forex, has gone through a very tough pregnancy period of 9 years and have given birth to us, not just through the natural way, but by going through the cesarean way, during which it has happened to have loss of blood. For that, we are grateful. We are very thankful, and we consider ourselves very fortunate that we have a baobab tree that we can lean on. I think we all know what we say in Mandinka, Nibe Sembela Ye Sembe Sita Sumala. I think we all know that adage. There is a very good reason why we say that. When you do that, what do you get? You get shade and what? Julo. Okay, rope. That's right. And what? Namo. And what? It's a lot of things that you get. So we consider Yonna Forex to be our baobab tree. And I consider, and I consider ourselves lucky again because we have the kind of employees that we need to operate. They have the understanding, they have the diversity, they have the dynamism, they have the charisma that can move any institution. So as a result, we are very, very, very proud of you. For any institution to prosper, particularly financial institution, it is paramount to understand the fact that customers are the base. So as a result, I want to caution myself and all of you to always keep in our mind that the most important asset we have as institution are our customers. Without them, we don't have a job. I tell my staff that you should not see me as the boss. I'm not the boss. The boss is that guy or that lady sitting outside that you are serving. And that's why it is very essential when they step in, we have to be excited enough to greet them. We greet them, we accommodate them, we make them comfortable to the extent that they would want to come again and again and again. This is fundamental in business. If you don't have an understanding of this, you are not good for the institution because you will end up sending away our good customers who make us who we are. I want to also caution us all also to see ourselves as a group. Somebody comes, you are a okay, if you don't do it as a foreign exchange bureau, do it. So to foster that relationship with the customers and to bring about that confidence and comfort to customers, if any one of you doesn't know what to do, please, you should be able to call your supervisor at the head office or somewhere. They'll be able to guide you what to do. We must never let any customer walk away with money. In fact, the Forex Bureau does need that cash that somebody brings to your table. They bring 1 million. If you don't use that, I end up calling your supervisor to bring you cash from somewhere, but now it came to your doorstep. You have to know what to do with that. So that's what I'm talking about. Both sides, whether it's Forex or enterprise or the microfinance, we should be able to cross-sell. In fact, we should expect in the near future to grow. We are growing, but we are anticipating to grow at a greater pace because there are other areas that we are eyeing. So once we go into those areas, that symbiotic relationship, that synergy, that should come from us. We have to make the best use of that. If we lose that, then we don't have that opportunity that makes us unique as a company. Because here we have various institutions that are part and parcel of each other that can synergize and grow each other. So this is not the forum where we can go into detail, but I wanted to talk about it because it's essential for us, all of us, to be at the same level as far as that understanding is concerned, that Yonna is Yonna. At this moment, the analogy I bring about is that what the Mandinkas call Sinkiri Sabo. Those of you who know, who can speak Mandinka. Sinkiri Sabo, Sinkiri Bere Sabo, if you move one out, what happens to the pot? It falls. So it's very important we keep all those Sinkiri Beros in place so as to make sure that we stay steady and we do the job that we are expected to do. So on this note, I want to thank you all, and I want to encourage all of you. The new year has come. We should come back to work with much more energy to ensure that those aspirations are really realized. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mambure, for those words of wisdom. And you've really done justice to the time. And what you've talked about, I think, will be a food for thought for all of us and those staffs that work with Yonna Islamic Microfinance and as well Yonna Foreign Exchange Bureau. And yes, I'm being told that anyone who is not registered can please go out and register. Please, I think I have. So anybody who is not registered, there is a register book at the gate, so you can go there and definitely register your name. It's important, right? So Mr. Mambure, thank you very much for that. You definitely told us something which is really very important. We are aware that our guests are coming, but with little time, we will definitely invite few people to give a keynote speeches, which will be definitely very brief. And at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, I have elaborated on the effort that has been made by a gentleman to rescue this country from poverty. And he has contributed his quota to poverty alleviation in this country, and by trying to make sure that he employs quite a number of us, more than 200 people across the country. So, but then there is a saying that goes, leadership or wealth or anything about any individual, if you are going to be a good person, it doesn't change who you are, but it instead reveals who you are. So wealth, precision, and any material might has never changed some people across the world. So we eat with him on Saturdays most of the time. I don't know if it still have super kanja on Saturdays, and it is always a routine. So we would definitely love to definitely invite the managing director for Yonna Foreign Exchange Bureau to give a short and a very brief speech on to the event. Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause to the managing director, the general manager, the managing director, right? Yes.
He's fine. He will make a statement today. He's grateful. Thank you.
Really? He is always grateful. I thought today he was coming. to be honest. It's always nice to see him speaking. But then if he is grateful, at this juncture, we get to Dr. Fati. Dr. Fati, the general manager requests that you give a short advice to his staffs, his colleagues, he called them. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Fati, we want to have you on the stage to give a short advice to the young people here present.
Thank you so much, Honorable Lamin Sisi. Good afternoon, everyone. And I will, I would like to welcome all of you, and also those who are at the high table. And my greetings goes to the CEO of Yonna Group, because that's what I usually say. It is a Yonna Group because now Yonna has Forex Bureau and it has Islamic microfinance and enterprise. So many more is coming. So welcome and thank you, the CEO, and also the General Manager, Mr. Barrow, and we have the one of the shareholders, Mr. Keita, and also Mr. Mambure. And I want to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Jabi, who is going to be the key speaker to the events, and Dr. Mukhtar Jai also arrived. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here today. I am part of you, and I will always be part of you. I was a staff in Islamic microfinance, and we are the first staff to be there. And we learn a lot from these able leaders, the general manager and the CEO. So I am expecting the same thing from all other staff, to learn from these able leaders. This company, of course, we are very grateful to this company, either in the level of the staff, in the level of the customers, and in the country as a whole, because they are giving a tremendous service to this nation. My fellow staff and the employees at the Yonna Forex Bureau and the Yonna Group, let us put in mind that whatever we are doing, we are serving our nation, we are serving our community, we are serving our families, we are serving our relatives. So let us put our hands together to see this company grow very fast, and to satisfy all the needs of our customers. Let us be impatient, let us be in dedications, so that we can deliver our roles as a good staff. So with that note, I will end my speak here. Thank you all, and may Allah bless you all, and may Allah bless the company and entire nation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fati. Very brief, but definitely words are really important and powerful for us as young people. The only thing that we can talk about, say, for us to know really that we are serving our families, we are serving our parents. And I had such history. And when I was working in Yonna Forex Bureau as an HR officer, a crazy thing happened when I was in office. I sent 5 sign, because I sent sign $500 to my father in Farato branch. My biological father, I sent him the money. And when he marched into the office in Farato, he met a lady whose name I wouldn't call. And this was between 5 o'clock and 20 minutes after 5. Yes, I think. And when my father walked into the office and requested that he, and requested that he has a transfer. And the lady told my father, we have closed. And that was in between 5 o'clock to 20 minutes after 5. And my father called me back and said, but Molamin, Allah mul ko jital. But science and tell lul salta. So mbeji no la nyadi. I didn't tell the office open. So I know the staff. I called back the staff and said, look, I sent my father a money, which is very important for him. And you were telling him that we closed and it's not a time. And the person said, she couldn't explain anything anyway. And without knowing that was my father, the only thing that I'm telling you, what Dr. has talked about, know that your parents are coming to you. The brothers and sisters, the wives and daughters of even your management are coming to you to receive their monies. So it's quite important to definitely be genuine enough to take good care of them whenever they come to your office. So doctor, thank you very much for that short advice. And from there, at this juncture, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the Dr. Matar Njai of University of the Gambia. Dr. Matar Njai, you welcome. Can we give him a round of applause? Dr. Matar Njai, can we have you at the high table? Thank you very much. While the colleagues or the friends at the high table welcomed Dr. Njai, and we progress to acknowledging the presence of Dr. Sekou Jabi. Doctor, we are very grateful for you coming, and we want to say welcome and have a seat at the high table. Can we give him a round of applause? So, now, once the high table is set for the event, as I told you earlier on, at the commencement of setting the ground set for the event, I told you that today is a very powerful day. We have a man who is going to moderate the corporate event for us, whose knowledge for such events and whose experience for moderation of events is definitely second to none. And I learned from him a lot, and I think today he is going to give us a very beautiful moderation and to ensure that we all enjoy the occasion. At this juncture, we would like to hand over the stage to Haruna Drame, right? Yes, Mr. Haruna Drame, and coming over there. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful.
Thank you. I thought you were doing a brilliant job. So for some reason, I thought you were going to kidnap my job from me. Luckily, you did not. But no surprises here. We know Kiang, and I'm assuming you are from Kiang. Since you said it's the most beautiful part of the country, so you are from Kiang. Okay. Which one of the kingdoms in Kenya?
United States of Canada.
Oh, United States of Canada. Okay, so you have something to do with the Umrah package. You see how corruption happens. Yeah, this is corruption. High Table, we'd like to thank you and welcome all of you to this very important occasion we have here today. And we'd like to specifically welcome all the hardworking staff of Yonna Microfinance, Yonna Forex Exchange Bureau, and all of the Yonnas. One of the speakers said it should be a group. And in fact, Yonna is a group. And it is you, ladies and gentlemen, that have made this huge success and sacrifices over the years that has paid off. So today is in fact your day. We're here to celebrate you, all of the staff, from Katong to Koina, and those of you who serve under all of the remote spaces that we have within this country. Over 100 bureaus have been manned by you, ladies and gentlemen. And this by itself is a major achievement for Yonna, and we want to appreciate you. One of the reasons I'm excited to be here, I was told of the brilliance and hard work you've done over the years to bring it from that first bureau in Bakau all the way to where we are today in over 100 bureaus. Ladies and gentlemen, and staff of Yonna, please clap for yourselves. I will refuse to call each of the members here because today is not really about management or ownership. It's about you, and we're going to make it about you. So my focus will be on that. The corporate event here and the first speaker is really important. Manoda Koleata, Jamano Mandia. And some of us young people who want to start business, we worry about capital. How to start, where to start. And of course, we are worried about the state of the economy and what is happening. But we want to get a hang of the things. So one of the expert presenters today for 20 minutes is Dr. Matar Njai of the University of the Gambia. And he has 20 minutes to talk us through about cost of capital and economic development in the Gambia. Dr. Njai, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You want to hold that? That's the loudest mic.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
Right, thanks. Thank you very much for inviting me to this event. As the previous speaker said, we'll try within 20 minutes to cover what they call the cost of capital and its role in economic development. Because as I will show later, Gambia has one of the highest cost of capital in Africa, I would say. And we'll try and explain why that happens and how that now impacts negatively on our economic development. But before we start, as most economists will say, if you don't talk about GDP, or you don't talk about ceteris paribus, you're not an economist. So I'll start by talking about those things. First of all, let's look at this current scenario in the Gambia. In terms of fiscal deficit, which is the difference between your revenue and your expenditure, in terms of the fiscal deficit in the Gambia, for 2021, it was 4% of the GDP, right? In 2022, it was 4.6, meaning that it's going up, meaning that we are getting more, spending more than we're earning. But slightly, we expect that in 2023, it will fall down to 3.8, due likely to what they call this tax administration, improved tax administration in the country, meaning that ERA is collecting more revenue in this year and so forth. Right?
The mic a little bit, Mike.
Sorry?
The mic.
Oh, this one here.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. All right. Furthermore, in terms of the current scenario, in terms of the lending rates with the interest rates in the Gambia, in 2020, the average rate from the ADB was 28%. 2021, it fell down to 19.5%.
But if you compare that to the Francophone countries, which is Senegal and others, the average there is about 5%, meaning that the cost of lending in the Gambia and other Anglophone countries is higher. And I will explain why this is the case. In these Francophone countries, they have what they call fiscal discipline, right? I mean, meaning that they spend what they earn. They don't spend more than what they earn, right? And they have in their laws called what they call this, they cap the expenditure to, they cap the appropriation to a general rule, which says that government cannot spend more than what it earns, and they follow by the rule. And therefore, their deficits are falling as large as we have in the Gambia and other African countries. And therefore, once you have a larger fiscal deficit, what happens? How do you fill the deficit? You keep borrowing. And Gambia government is one of the biggest borrowers in the sub-region here, and that increased borrowing is forcing interest rates to go up. The cost of finance goes up. And therefore, to bring it down, to bring down the cost of interest rates, what we have to do is that we have to follow the Francophone countries by controlling our expenditure, cutting expenses or looking for further revenue, right? So that's a scenario for the other African countries, and it shows that for the Gambia, one of our main causes of our cost of finance going up is what is called fiscal indiscipline. We don't have discipline in terms of our fiscal expenditures. We spend more than what we earn. And therefore, to fill the gap, we go on borrowing. That increased borrowing pushes pressure on the interest rates. And therefore, to bring down interest rates, what do? Cut down our expenditure according to our revenue, which is difficult to do, but that's actually what the textbook says that we have to do. Why do we have to mention about cost of capital? Because access to capital for private sector and the government, we need those things for development purposes, right? Because once government have access to capital, they will be able to invest more and also create more jobs. But at the same time, cost of capital has increased, and therefore that means that government will not be able to, or the private sector particularly cannot be able to borrow and invest and therefore create jobs, right? And that, as I said before, is due largely to what they call these large budget deficits in the country, and which leads to higher interest rates, right? And that means now cost of capital will be very expensive for both private sector and government, right? And therefore, that scenario now denies the Gambia from achieving its desired economic growth. And therefore, if we're going to have desired economic growth, what do? We need to really go back to the basics, cut down our expenditure according to our income, and therefore bring about fiscal discipline in the country, and therefore we'll be able to grow in the short and medium term. Hence the need to reduce the cost of capital for growth to take place in the Gambia. But how do we reduce the cost of capital? How do we reduce the cost of capital? As I said before, let me repeat, there needs to be prudent fiscal management and debt management. Prudent fiscal management meaning that we manage what we earn, make sure it's in line with what we spend. If we don't do that, we're going to have a gap. And that gap now puts interest rates, pressure interest rates, which is the cost of capital. Also, debt management. Most of the time, Gambia is one of the biggest borrowers in Africa. I keep telling my students, borrowing is not bad. What is bad, what is important is what you do with the money, what you borrow it. They say, I can borrow money and invest, and therefore create cash flow and pay back the loan to the banks. I'll be a good friend to the bankers. But once I borrow and do something else, for example, which is common in the Gambia, actually I have a banker friend. He's told me that 90% of borrowers in the Gambia, when they borrow, they fill the application form for loans. The first question they ask them is the purpose. It's part of the issues, which I'm not saying Maribita is bad, but I'm saying it doesn't add too much economic growth in the short run. But that's what my banker friend said. And therefore, most of us, when we borrow, we don't invest, and therefore we don't create enough cash flow to be able to pay by the bankers. Therefore, what we need here is prudent fiscal management. We make sure we spend what we earn. Also, whatever we borrow, we invest it properly. That will now put downward pressure on interest rates, and cost of capital will go down. The second option we have to solve this high cost of capital is to develop what they call this bond market. A bond market is a market where bonds are issued, right, to borrow, Bonds are just IOUs. You issue them to the private sector, to the government, municipals issue them to borrow money. Again, when they issue those bonds, the proceeds should be invested for growth. So that's one way. But again, in terms of the this capital bond market development, both for corporate bonds, companies can issue bonds also, government bonds, and of course now we have what they call this diaspora bonds, meaning that government can issue bonds for Gambian diasporas who will buy them in turn. In other words, lending money to the government, right? Those called diaspora bonds. Also, they have what they call these green bonds issued for environmental purposes. You can issue your bonds to buy your solar panels, right? Because you want to cut down on greenhouse emissions, right? Those are all bonds issued. But if you issue those kind of bonds, once you develop the bond market, what happens is there will be increased competition in the financial system. And of course, we know from theory that increased competition causes price to go down. So the more bonds we issue, there will have more competition in the financial system against the banks particularly, and therefore interest rates can fall down over time, right? So without the active bond market, the banks become what they call dominant. Banks become very dominant here, and generally I don't like dominant things. I don't like monopolies. I like competition. Because where you have competition, price will go down. And if you have a very strong competition in the financial system by developing a bond market, what happens? Interest rates will go down. Usually you have two wives in the house, right? You have the manual and the other one. There's competition now, isn't it, for your attention. And therefore, service quality will go up. So similarly also, if you have competition in the financial system, having a bond market in the banking system, banks can no longer become monopolies now. And that will force their interest rates to go down. Generally, if you go to other advanced countries or other countries, even some Asian countries that have very advanced bond markets, you find that interest rates are low, because the bond markets are now competing with the banks, and therefore interest rates will go down. So therefore, we keep saying that Gambia government have developed the bond market, and as I will say later on, there is some progress on that side, although I keep telling my students, it's always work in progress. And I hate the word work in progress. We are working on it. We are on it. Before I left in 1993, they were talking about the bond market, just before I left. And I came back, they still talking about the bond market. We are working on that. I think it's high time we move away, graduate from that work in progress to just do it, as Nike would say. Just do it. It's high time we keep doing things rather than... just to inform you, Gambia has one of the best policies in Africa, generally. We are good at policy making. What we are not good at is implementing them. And that I'll come to it later, right? So the other role government can do, apart from developing the bond market, is to strengthen our legal framework to make sure that investors in these bonds know exactly, are protected also. I don't want to buy a bond knowing that the one who is issuing the bond may default, and I have no legal recourse. So if legal framework is strong, that means that individuals and corporations can issue bonds confidently, knowing that whenever there is default, there's legal recourse available. So Gambia have developed their legal framework, also to develop what they call these disclosure standards to make sure there is transparency in the bond market, right? And finally, financial literacy. Generally, average Gambian doesn't understand these kind of technical issues. I have an allergy friend who has not been to school, but he's a millionaire. So he keeps asking about investment opportunities. And whenever I mention about bonds and the stock shares, he tells me, what are you talking about? I don't trust these things. What I trust is investing in real things, housing and the things, because I can see them. Therefore, it's high time Gambia government develop what they call these financial literacy programs around the country, so that people are aware of these things, that there is another option to the banking system, which is the bond market or the capital market generally. So if that happens, generally there will be competition, and therefore interest rates will go down. And I will cite the example of Malaysia that has been successful in developing their bond market. In Malaysia, the interest rates are relatively low, and therefore government and companies can easily borrow and invest, and therefore you can see for the past 25 years or so, the rapid economic growth they've experienced, right? So what did Malaysia do? First of all, they developed what they call this conducive environment, where there is what they call this macroeconomic stability. There is low inflation, low unemployment, all these things are stable. Also, most importantly, they develop their sound legal framework. They make sure that investors in bonds are protected, right? So these provide groundwork for capital market development. And if there is capital market development, it will compete with the banks, and their interest will go down, and their economic growth will happen. Also, what it did was, there was strong commitment of the government. The government was really committed to what they were doing. They were serious about it. And that basic question, are we serious here about economic development, about some of these issues? As I said before, for the past 30 years or so, we've been talking about capital market, capital market, capital market. Since before I left, 1993, and I came back still, we're talking about. I'll mention about what the central bank mentioned recently about these capital markets, that we are working on them. We work in progress. And I think for the next 30 years again, we'll keep saying that we're working on it. And therefore, interest rates will ever be high, and therefore, this will put downward pressure in our economic growth, and which, to reverse that, really we have to have a strong capital market here to make sure there is competition in the financial system, and that will force the banks to really bring down interest rates. So that's what Malaysia did, and therefore, as I keep asking, can Gambia now borrow a leaf from the Malaysian experience and make sure we also have a strong capital market to compete with the banks? Can we do that? For example, let's look at what he did. 2019, Malaysia issued what they call these samurai bonds, bonds denominated in yen, Japanese yen. And they raised 200 billion yen, which is about 10 million US dollars, right? The proceeds from that, what they do, and by the way, the cost of that, the yield was 0.6%, less than 1%. You see the cost of finance there is cheap compared to 18%. For example, in the Gambia government, in Gambia here, interest rates are about what? 18%. And now if you have a bond market charging about 0.6%, therefore cost of finance is lower there. And therefore, both companies and governments can borrow cheaply, invest, and there will be economic growth. So you can borrow a leaf from the Malaysian experience. So what they did in 2019, they issued these samurai bonds, and they raised about 200 billion yen, and the proceeds, they use them to develop their schools, health, hospitals, roads, and utilities. And that's why I keep saying that, this dynamic issue can be solved if we are serious about economic development. Why can't we issue bonds and throw away this old generator in the Atlantic Ocean, buy a new generator, and start fresh? And therefore, if you have a strong utility company in place, economic growth can be faster and all that. So that can only happen if Gambia government can issue some bonds cheaply, raise the finance, buy a new generator, and fix the dynamic issue, fix our hospital system, and that all those things are economic enablers, economic growth enablers. And therefore, that now we can borrow a leaf from the Malaysian experience. They have one of the best infrastructures in developing countries, and we can also have a strong infrastructure if you follow these kind of things. But again, can we borrow from them? It depends whether we have the commitment and other things. And recently, just to show you what the central bank is doing, they're also trying to do something. In February 2022, I saw in the headline news there, the Gambia to, CBG to create a development bank. I said, very good. A development bank will provide loan for development activities, and again, that will compete with the bank, normal commercial banks. I said, very good. Also, they said in 2021 that Gambia cannot rely on foreign loans. We have to have a capital market here to provide financing for us also. Again, I said, lofty ideas, but can we implement them? So it's high time, as I said, we have got these ideas in place, how to bring the interest rates for economic growth, but again, do we implement them? And therefore, I'm suggesting that we move away from this work in progress idea to just do it, and that way we'll be able to bring the interest rates for economic growth in the Gambia to happen. Thank you very much.
I'll borrow you. You still have 2-3 minutes. Right. So if there's any 1 or 2 short questions, it will be great for clarification purposes. Anybody has a question? Yes, please, quickly. Let's hear that. Since he still has 2-3 minutes left, it's good.
Today's lectures, I think it's for me personally, and I built a lot of interest in it. My question is, if you look at our country's capital expenditure, and most of the time we have it from borrowing, and what mechanism do you think, and we can reduce external borrowing to definitely enhance local resource mobilization that can definitely help the development of the country. What mechanism you think that we can reduce external borrowing? Because when you look at the capital expenditures, the money that we borrow is too huge, and probably our local resources cannot definitely fund that for us. What is your suggestion to this?
Well, I keep saying, again, I fall back to the capital market issue, and we can have a domestic capital market and a foreign capital market. Well, I'll see that we develop our domestic capital market where we can mobilize resources domestically. In fact, the World Bank has written so many papers on that. Africa has to stop borrowing from abroad because it's expensive, risky. Therefore, domestic, domestic resource mobilization should be done domestically. And how do you do that? You make sure that the capital market is developed so that people can borrow domestically. Companies can borrow, NAVIC and other companies can borrow domestically rather than from abroad. Because borrowing abroad is risky. If interest rate risk is there, exchange rate risk is there, all kinds of risks are there. Therefore, World Bank is saying that we high time African countries focus the attention on domestic resource mobilization rather than the. And as he asked, how do we do that? Let's develop our bond market, domestic bond market, where we issue bonds denominated in dollars rather in dollars. That way, we are shielded from this exchange rate risk or the risk. So for example, if Gambia wants to develop, buy a new generator, and they want $10 million, for example, rather than borrowing from the World Bank in Washington, they can issue a bond domestically in dollars, and Q-Cell, other companies can buy those bonds, lend the money to the government, and that way the money is raised from domestically, and we avoid this exchange rate risk or the risk involved in it. So, as I said before, developing our bond market will be one way of making sure we borrow from within. And when we borrow from within, risks are limited, and rather than borrowing from abroad. As I said, borrowing abroad involves so many risks, and which we want to avoid by making sure that, but again, Central Bank, Minister of Finance have a role to play in that place to make sure the legal framework is developed, there is transparency, the accounting system is developed, and according to international standards. That way, bond investors will be confident to buy bonds, and they are protected. Without protection, nobody wants to buy bonds. Singapore, for example, have one of the best legal frameworks in the world. Years back, my boss sent me there for assignment for 1 week, gave me $7,000. He said, can I give you a cash? Or can I said, no, I prefer the cash. And he gave it to me, put it in my pocket, landed in Singapore. Somehow the money just disappeared from my pocket, and I left it in the car. I arrived in the hotel, and the lady told me how long. I said, 7 days. So and so you pay cash on front. I said, okay, wait. Then the money was nowhere to be found. I started getting panicky. What's the problem? I lost the money in the taxi. Don't worry. Just have a seat. Because there they have their taxi systems at the airport, 2 kinds of taxis, a red one and a yellow one. And I came with the red one. Hold on. He just called the intercom for the red company and said, XYZ traveled 2:30 in the morning from Singapore airport to this hotel here. Who was the guy who picked him up? And suddenly the guy just hung and said, I'm bringing the money back to you. And that way gives me the confidence that, therefore, I can always go and invest in Singapore knowing that my money is safe. That kind of system has to be developed in the Gambia to make sure people have confidence. Here, if I lose my phone, I just forget about it. Yeah, if I'm lucky to get back my phone, again, people have the confidence. So that, again, we have to measure those confidence measures in the country here to make sure people can buy bonds and knowing that they are protected. If you fall foul with the government, you go to the legal system, you are protected. There is no longer a Mansa in place, so you're all right. But otherwise, if you fear those kind of things, you see a bond, nobody will want to buy the bonds. Secondly, again, what do we need to do? Make sure we have what they call this bond rating system in place to make sure bonds are rated in terms of their qualities. You don't want to buy a bond for NAVIC, for example. They say no, it's a big defaulter. And therefore, if you grade them very well, again, we develop these rating agencies in place to make sure these domestic bonds are rated properly, and people have confidence that these bonds are, if you buy them, they will never default. And that way, people will buy the bonds, subscribe, and you raise funds domestically.
I don't want to steal your phone. I don't want to steal your phone. Thank you very much, Doctor. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I am not sure, I cannot guarantee the safety of your phone, but I can definitely guarantee the safety of our children under your care. You sound very knowledgeable and an expert in this area, and we're grateful for your 20 minutes. It has been really, really good. And yes, I do agree with you that in Gambia, everything is in a pipeline. So I wonder, is that pipe even safe after all these years? So let the projects come out of the pipes and we get to action them. Let us practicalize those projects Ideas are brilliant, documents are great, implementation is even better. So I hope the takeaway we have from Dr. Matar Njai's lecture is that we have great ideas, but let's put the ideas to work. But also, how do we help ourselves by living within our means, by make sure when we borrow, we pay, but also make sure we are not borrowing what is going only to Manu Bito, but to go to productive sectors of the economy, i.e. investments. Thank you, Dr. Matar Njai. It's been great to have you. The next presenter and lecture is by a senior of mine at St. Augustine's High School, a really diligent person who has taken himself very seriously and has done brilliantly well in the finance sector. An economist par excellence, Dr. Sekou Jabi. Dr. Jabi, you have your 20 minutes, sir, and it starts now. Oh, so you're going digital? I see.
I have slides.
There you go, doctor.
Yeah.
Yes. So we'll make a bit of space so you can... Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah, fine.
Oh.
Yes, thank you, MC, Yahya Jammeh, the Paradise CEO, the group chair, Yonna, the Islamic Microfinance, Yonna, and also the Bureau, the board of directors of Yonna, distinguished guests, I'm my honorable KMS member, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen and ladies of the press. As I said, I've been part of Yonna trainings for a number of times. So when I was called to participate, I prepared on slides. Well, maybe we'll have to organize another one like that, because I made it very comprehensive, and they will see the pictures and all that, and I will also share the slides at the end of the day. But briefly, I'll go through it, and because of that, I've been in the financial sector for 25 years. I worked with the central bank for 25 years, and in the last 5 years, I was the first deputy governor. And calling me to talk to financial sector players, I cannot just come and talk 20 minutes. I don't know whether my MC will give me more time. But I put together two topics together. Role of finance in economic development, opportunities and challenges. And I also talk about fraud in financial institutions. Because being at the bank, I know fraud is an issue. People live beyond their means, and sometimes they go beyond their salary. Temptations are there and all, but how can we, what are the causes? How can we control fraud in financial institutions? But this, as I said, we'll have to organize maybe only for staff and also having a slide opportunity to present that. Currently, I'm CEO of Zara Associates, the company that I registered. It's a consultancy firm specialized in financial sector development, agribusiness, and also architectural design and construction. Development of financial markets and institutions are crucial and key part of the economic growth process. Key to development, industrialization, and technical change. Role of finance in developing countries remain high on the policy agenda in developing countries and also with our development partners. And its financing is crucial. Financial intermediation, these are savings and loans. I must say, Yonna Islamic Microfinance is not only a credit institution, it's also a savings institution. And so it should focus more on developing cheap source of financing to invest it across enterprises, to advance in rural, urban, through relationship managers, to top depositors, call centers. Indeed, in Malaysia, in many other countries, you have these call centers. You have your staff, maybe 20 staff is put together to look at the customer profile. You call them, maybe a customer that is failing in paying their loans on time, or deposits mobilization is low in their areas. You call them, talk to them more about the institution, what's their problem, try to know the problem from them directly on the phone, and this motivates them. Customer care issues are a big problem in our developing world. We rarely talk to customers unless they walk into our offices. So we need to touch on those areas, the kind of thing, really. And it feels so much, the customer feels so much that today I've been called by my bank. They say I should increase my deposit. They say I should pay my next installment. They say, so these are kind of developing tailor-made products and services. Know your customer, KYC, to be able to serve the customer better. Loans are key in growth. From the literature, credit literature, lack of credit retards growth. Because we all know our savings mobilization are not enough for our investments. So we need the credit component to complement it. Repayment linked to a capability of repayment, timely loan and all that. Timely loan are also important, particularly for our farmers. If you want to give a loan to a farmer, it's best by May, June, when the farming season is starting. You want to give them in August, that money is going to be diverted because it's not going to be on agriculture, really. So timing of the loan is important, really. Because it all say these funds are fungible. You take it, they can easily divert it to other areas. But money, we'll come to that later. Monitoring of these credits are also important. You don't give loan and only go to the customer when the payment is due. You go to the customer frequently. Try to know even if it is the customer applied for 100,000. You give the first 20,000. You want to know how the 20,000 is being spent. How it is invested, whether it's invested according to the application that the customer submitted to the company or not. So if 20,000 is being diverted, I'm sure you'll be careful to give another 20,000, another 20,000 before you reach 100,000. So these are continuous linkages with your customer. Business expansion in the outlets. I was, as I said, I was at the bank for 25 years. For 20 years, I was a technical staff. We regulate and supervise microfinance institutions. We had this trip to Tanje Beach. There's this fisherman there. He had a loan from a company, about $40,000 a loan, but the first $20,000 was given to him. He bought an engine. At the time, he was a crew in the boat. He used to be 4 or 5 members in a boat as a crew. They go fishing, come back, and they are paid based on what they catch, in kind, no cash, daily. The more you get your payment, the more fish you should bring. So the owner is there. The owner is paid 2/3, the boat and the net, and the engine. The owner pays 2/3 of it. The other third is paid to the crew. If you have 4 members, 5 members, you have your fish. You take some at home for food security. You sell some to get liquidity. So when microfinance institutions started coming there, he had $20,000 a loan. He bought an engine, borrowed a boat, borrowed the net. He started going with his son and nephew. Within a year, within 4 months, he paid the $40,000. Within a year, he started increasing his loan book. At some point, he was demanding $1.5 million. He has 10 boats in Tanje, 10 boats in Life change. So these are the best of microfinance. The impact of it can be so great, really. The filling stations around there, when they are going to take loan, take fuel as a loan, they go, when they come back, do that. A tailor in Bangladesh was once having 1 head machine. After he took a microfinance loan, he expanded into 10 machines in the shop. At some point, the next shop, he also renting that, have textiles there. So customers go and buy textile in the next shop, bring it to the tailoring machine. So they don't buy machine from the market or whatever, they buy from the other shop, bring it. And he started expanding into towns in Brigama, in Javasom, in Bansam, Pasay. That's how he expanded and become a network, just like Yonna was expanded. So these are the beauties of it, really. Artisanal fisheries, like in Senegal and many other countries. Job creation through linkages, supply chain, value chain, training, spillovers, these are all good. Credit is good for the, just like Dr. Matari was saying, credit is good for the economy, inclusive growth, because growth can be going anywhere, 5%, 6%, but it's only touching the top. But it has to be inclusive through the solidarity, group lending approach and all that. The poor can get jobs, they are educated, they can have food security, housing, healthcare, and all those kind of things, really. Economies grow by 5%, as I said, but poverty still increases. It once happened here in Gambia. Economic growth was 5%, poverty was increasing. That's paradoxical, the kind of thing. But life growth is not inclusive. It was only touching on few ways, really. Value chain financing, this is good. If there's a slide, you'll be able to see. So there's financing needed across value chain, particularly in agricultural production. At the input stage, you need fertilizer, you need farming implements. Production stage, you need other kind of financing, the hybrid seed, when you want to grow granule, for example. At some stage, you need money for processing. You need money for distribution and up to the level of consumption. Yeah, these are all areas of it, really. However, credit can be devastating if done badly. Microfinance is not a magic bullet to alleviate poverty. Yeah? It wasn't like, oh, in Bansang, there's microfinance, there's Yonna there's no poverty yet. No, it's not like that. So it has to be done right, the kind of thing to do it. If not, we've seen in other areas, like in India, in Andhra Pradesh in India, people are committing suicide, they cannot pay their debts. People are sleeping less because they are taking of next installment payment. People are eating less because they want to pay the next installment. If you want to eat more until there's a balance, your money next payment, the next day you are thinking about it. And this loan officer, they come within your entire family, harass you there. Whatever. In Benin, you don't pay, they climb up to your roof and remove your corrugate. So it can be so embarrassing, really. So the risk managers at Yonna, the customers need to know and advise them, financial education, what the loan they're supposed to take. The loan has to be right, it has to be timely for them, it has to be just adequate to their earning capacity. Contagious effect of destabilization can be very, very huge. Unlike retail shops, as I said, in a village where you have two shops, if one shop collapses, the other shopkeeper is happy because everybody is coming to me. It's happy, yeah? Everybody is coming to me. But in the financial sector situation, like two banks in the community, if one bank fails, the other bank customers think, oh, the next one to fail is this bank. So that's a run on the bank. People rush to take their money. It happened here. When Continental Bank collapsed, the other banks opposite or adjacent, next one is this one. It's a cube, it's a row. After this, it's going to be next one, opposite or the adjacent one. So people rush to take their money, and that's a run on financial stability create chaos. People prefer keeping their money at the house than take it to the bank. So as you know, taking my money from under my pillow, under my wardrobe, under my whatever, take it to the bank is a trust. That I trusted people, I give them my money anytime I need it, I can get it. If that trust is threatened, then people keep their money now. Yeah, people keep their money now. These are issues, really. And risk of default can be high. So if you don't do your homework right, 90% of bank failures in this country has to do with poor liquidity status. That is excessive lending that you are not able to recover. Let's say. Then the customers get loans from Yonna. They must do business with Yonna. That's sometimes customers do that. They go to Yonna, take $1 million a loan or $500,000 a loan, and take it to another bank as a credit balance. $1 million as a credit balance. The bank will say, oh, you have money, 1 million liquidity. The customer will not be truthful to say, this is a loan from another company. But they think it's a credit balance for them. And that bank started giving the customer the loan. At the end of the day, the two loans repayment become pressure on the customer. He cannot handle two payments at the same time. At the end of the day, you have problems, really. So not only repayment is due, but monitoring continues throughout the period, really. So the niche market, any microfinance company needs to know the niche market they have. You cannot give $5 million, $10 million a loan as a microfinance institution. That's not your mandate area. You are going above your clientele level. 1 million down, I think these are areas that you can handle with your customers, really. And the safe zone is multiple savings as loan. This will be good if I meet the staff directly, where I can present this slide. Cash collateral, current guarantor system, group lending is another history in Bangladesh that can address these collateral issues. Regional grouping, women finance programs model, leasing of family implements, these are all key. Monitoring and financial education is key. People believe recovering loans and even for fraud, financial education is the best measure, the kind of thing, really. So these are important, right? So now, briefly, let me take you to opportunities and challenges are also there. Increased access to finance, increased technologies today in financial sector, increased financial infrastructure, credit reference bureaus, collateral registry, FIU, Money Laundering Act, stability in the financial system now, financial inclusion established in January 2022, and also fintech promise. Fintech is so much growing in the country. The challenges will include credit risk management, fraud in institutions, increasing interest rates and inflation, both domestic and global inflation, optimal investment funds, fighting financial crimes, money laundering and terrorist financing, full financial inclusion to boost growth. Now fraud. Briefly, if I can have 5-10 minutes to talk about fraud. Fraud is a deceitfulness, criminal deception using false representation to obtain unjust advantage. Covers all the ramifications of fraud. Theft, extortion, embezzlement, what Nigerians call 419, kickbacks, overvaluing of invoices, forgery, inflating contracts, overstatement of profits. In legal terms, fraud is deliberately deception to secure undue or unfair or unlawful gain. It is both civil and criminal wrong. Fraud do not be part of it. It damages your reputation, fit and proper test of any central bank, as a shareholder, as a director, as a senior staff, and even the customer, particularly in Nigeria. If you are found like this, you can be barred from the financial sector in Nigeria, really. Fraud theory, that's a theory of differential opportunity. Yes, as I said, 5 minutes won't be enough for me. Differential opportunity. Everybody has the opportunity to commit fraud. That's what the theory says. Everybody has the opportunity to commit fraud. Against the employer, there are many ramifications of fraud. Even you are at workplace, you are playing reggae music in your office when you're supposed to be working. You are playing cards in your computer and whatever. Against the employer, against your supplier, against your customer, against third parties, against government. It depends on the skill, the access, the time, and the rank. Sometimes the higher you are, the opportunity is there for you to commit fraud higher than even you are at the lower cadre. Theory of concealment, that's prevention of detection, total omission, deferred attention, records not updated, confused records that even the auditors cannot understand, to be able to know, in fact, what kind of records are here. There's a theory of deviation. Fraud is a deviant behavior, deviant from acceptable procedure in the first place, really. And there's a theory of minimum and general collusion. People believe no one person can commit fraud. It's a collusion. It's a collusion. One has to, connive with others to commit fraud. Specialized skills are required involving people as a chain of fraud. No one person can commit it on a large scale. It is, as I said, records overstating accounts of customers. And causes of fraud. UBS lost, that's Switzerland bank, 1.4 billion pounds through fraud. There are 10 reasons why fraud occurs. Greed, living beyond means, desire of personal gain, lack of transparency, huge debt, you are huge debt, you want to pay that debt, poor management information, family pressure, non-independent or lack of internal audit department, lack of clear direction and senior management, poor accounting records and concealment, addicting to gambling can also be a huge cause of it, arrogance, partly on top officers thinking you have a better system. You think you have a better system, or no focus on your staff to see whether you can control fraud. I say they can always go around that system, better system. Complacency, that you have, that your over-reliance on trust without putting in place right measures could be something else. You have a branch manager in the place for 10 years. After many customers used to be branch manager in the locality. So that can be another cause for it. At some point, you can. So you cannot have over complacency on a staff because of the high trust you have in him. So always rotate across departments and also rotate across branches. This is one of the, but we'll come to that through control of fraud. Crowdfunding, if it is institutionalized, fraud is institutional, everyone is doing it. If you don't do it, you are the one who is missing. So that's another temptation, everybody trying to do it. Really. There's a cause of fraud, a survey conducted by Donald Tracy, Other People's Money, titled Other People's Money, a study of social psychology of embezzlement. Fraud occurs when financial need cannot be shared. There's a passive opportunity, there's access to illicit gains. There's a personal rationalization of the act, not the problem, but everybody doing it. 86% of cause of fraud is due to lack of internal control systems. There's instruments of fraud, as I say, fake, forgery, grant loans without proper due diligence, siphoning investors' funds, cybercrime. We all know cybercrime that even our central bank was faced with. Debit and credit scheming, card scheming, ATM fraud, all that, collusion frauds, emerging from kickbacks of employees, use of forged documents, violation of KYC, transferring funds to group illegally, falsifying valuation, corporate espionage, all this increasing fraud also, yeah. In Kenya, technology is so much in Kenya, but however, this has come with a lot of other things. There's a full financial inclusion in the year 2025-2030. The dark side of it is fraud and corruption are on the increase. Similarly, acceptable daily activities of bank employees. Then control of fraud. In Kenya, 4% of industry profits to 2010. UK fraud up to 12% in 2012. 16 banks in $40 million fraud in scandal in June 2025. Merchants in the US approximately $190 billion. The bank losses $11 billion and customers lose $4.8 billion. These are all key cases. As I said, I would have time to present this carefully. There's another fraud survey that try to make survey on insurance fraud study that people refrain from committing fraud. 63% say because of moral ground, I don't want to commit fraud, moral ground. 15% fear being caught. If you are caught, hey, my name in this society, I don't want to commit it. Fear of being caught. 7% say I fear prosecution, I might be taken to court. But 3% is saying I lack the opportunity. Right? Then 2% because of religious reasons. Yeah. And, internal control is key. All relevant documents filed and security of computer IT system, cyber security must be in place. Control of fraud and all that. Yeah, I'll have the opportunity to present this to staff later. And to conclude, no one person can do it all alone. At all levels, Yonna Islamic Microfinance organogram is important to move the company forward. Strategists, loan officers, savings collectors, treasury managers must have their hands on deck. It's a winning together or failing together. No one individual, department or branch is the issue here, but it's the Yonna Islamic Microfinance. To conclude, finance has an important role to play in any economy. Increasing access to finance is developmental, reduce poverty, bridge income gaps, and address loss of socio-economic constraints. Fraud is detrimental to our integrity, institutional reputation, and development. Education is best to control fraud. You cannot be generous with somebody's company funds when it is not your own. Taking money without approval is fraud. I'm a Jahanke, Jetukofala without approval is fraud. It's fraud, right? How long it takes, I must tell you, fraud is always discovered. So don't think you are smarter than the system or you are smarter than the things that are put in place. 1 year, 1 month, 2 years, 3 years down the line, even if you are not going on holiday, sitting down to cover your tracks, one day it will be discovered. So let's protect ourselves. With that, I thank you for your attention. Thank you, MC. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much. And I will really encourage Mr. Barrow to really get him on a special lecture with middle and senior management. I think it is key to do that. I'd like to welcome my boss. He gave me the biggest check in 2022. Kurata Taisakana. Mr. Omar Boob, DMD of Trust Bank, please to the high table, sir. You gave me the fattest check in 2022. Your check was bigger than Yonna microfinance check. I tell you. So I hope 2023 I get the same check from you as well. But it is our pleasure to also invite a board member of Yonna, Mr. Bekai Dabo, to also join the high table. Mr. Dabo, please. This way, sir. You're sitting at number 3, yes. Welcome. Dr. Sekou, your lecture is brilliant, and I like it. You know, our Fuller cousins are used to this Jetukofal. I mean, stealing is stealing. Fullers cannot keep stealing from the country and say Jetukofal. How can you see something you like, you take? Not be your own. If it is not yours, it's not yours. So all the Fullers here, where are the Jetabas and the Jalos and the Baldes? Where are the Fullers? Please show yourselves. Show yourselves. Why are they hiding? No Fullers here? With all these light faces I'm seeing, there are Fullers here. You know, one Fuller is here. So please, stop this Jetukofala. You know, don't do that. But Dr. Jabi, you did not acknowledge the fact that we Sarahules are your fathers, Jahankes. We taught you the Quran, and this Stratal Mustaqim, we showed it to you. So I'm glad you did it here very well. Having settled now and enjoying the lectures that are ongoing towards staff development and empowerment by Yonna, we'd like to call the next lecturer for today, Mr. Omar Mboob of Trust Bank PLC, to get us another 20 minutes of lecture. And Mr. Mboob will be presenting on the evolution of financial institutions in the Gambia. Mr. Mboob, please. Oh, Jennifer, you are here too. I was calling for Fuller's Unit Show. You are not Fuller anymore? No, madam, you have done well.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Happy New Year. I would like to start by saying thank you very much for having me here again. Last year, we had a good session. My first investigation with the Yonna family was to ask Mr. Barrow whether we lost any staff by death in 2022. He couldn't recall. And then we should thank God that here we are 1 year after, sitting next to each other in the same hall, doing the same things, thanks to the leadership of Sirifo, Mr. Barrow, the management board, above all, and staff of Yonna. Can you put your hands together for yourselves making it here? I would also like to have each and every one of you turn to the person next to him and say, Happy New Year to you. Can we start by that, please? Just turn to the guy next to you and say, Happy New Year. Thank you very much. I would also like to recognize my boss, Haruna. He was the first person I heard on radio saying Kiang should be donated to Casamance. Kiankas, whenever you see this man, he is working on donating you to Casamance for what it is worth. And then Brother Haruna, this is the platform to really bring it to the attention of the Kiankas if they just forget. On his Kenkeliba, so he started working on donating Kiang for what it was worth. But again, I would like to recognize the presence of a sick man, a very good friend, a colleague who has written several books. One of them was The Clusters and Economic Development, a Pathway to African Industrialization, Dr. Sekou Jabi. Your hands together for him. Dr. Sekou also authored SME Finance and Economic Development, the case study of the fishing industry in Uganda and Gambia. Your hands together for him. He wrote evidence-based essays in development finance. So it was an honor to hear that he was coming here to talk to you guys. And I'm glad. And then, unfortunately, I came late. I would also like to recognize the entire high table that I recognized the last time, and then apologize for coming late here today. I'll pick one and he will represent the rest. Mr. Sirikanyi, my very good brother, we shared so much positive platforms. I can see Mr. Marong, my dearest brother from Farafenya as well. And then the Badibu Massive, you know, we are the good ones on that side of the planet. So, your hands together for all these people, guys. You know, when I was contacted a couple of days ago, I don't know why they would just give me these short notices. So sometimes I'm more tempted to reject them. Then Srif blackmailed me and said, the staff said you should come. So I'm not a friend to Yonna, I'm a friend to the staff of Yonna. To you people, thank you very much for having me back here. It's not a very strange topic. It's just to let you know what the direction of development, what the direction of finance, the evolution. Most of you are just joining right now. We had the privilege, Dr. Sekou Jabi and the rest, to really work in the financial industry for the past 2.5 decades minimum. And then we've seen it moved from point to point, and not all of us are privileged to go through that. I wanted to look at even the establishment of the Dalasi and then some of those importance. But before that, it's important to know we used to have what we call the West African Currency Board. And then it was around from 1912. This is the historical perspective, right? I'm not a historian, though. From 1912 all the way to 1964, when the Gambian Currency Board actually was here. Then from the Gambia Currency Board, we have the CBG Act of 1971 that actually was established, and then started issuing the Dalasi and the Butut. Asked him what he thought about. And we could have continued like Kenya did. I've seen a lot of data comparison. It's one of the countries in Africa that actually had so much to do with data and the financial system. So you'll see Dr. Sekou Javi making a lot of reference. The other currencies that are not necessarily duodecimal like the pound and the others, but mostly on a decimal basis of the multiples of tens instead of the multiple of hundreds. After the 1971, then the FIA, which is the Financial Institution Act of 1974, was actually dedicated to the supervision of the financial system. Why are we talking about this? For you to be able to operate in the financial industry, you must meet the criteria and the licensing requirement to be issued a license to operate. So the evolution, it's looked at from the perspective of a regulatory one rather than an operational one. And then after the FIA in 1974, we had the Financial Institution Act of 1992, which gave more autonomy to the central bank than the issuer of this licensing in the financial industry. And then the FIA obviously repealed and was replaced by FIA 2003, which gave opportunity or chance for an Islamic banking. With your permission, I would like to continue on this history. Then we have the Banking Act of 2009, and then also, I think most recently, this was more or less separating banks from non-bank financial institutions, which I believe you are. And then that historical background was very important. Now, then we get into the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Financing of Terrorism Act of 2012, which was also, I think, repealed by the financial, financial regulatory. I'll have to take that one again. But the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Financing of Terrorism was initially under the central bank, under the banking supervision, but now they also have their autonomy and it's a separate directorate. And everything that we do now in the financial industry has to be regulatory, has to be compliant. We have to look for every check and balance of money laundering, counter-financing of terrorism, and counter-proliferation of arms. Just to give you a better background, we used to have what we call the Agricultural Development Bank, established by Act of Parliament in 1981. It didn't work well, and it was repealed by an Act of Parliament in 1989. We also used to have the Gambia Commercial and Development Bank that actually was separated in a good bank and a bad bank, and then the good bank was sold to the Meridian Group, whilst the bad bank was taken over by the Assets Management and Recovery Commission, AMRC. And that was the success story of the very institution I work for, which is from Meridian to Trust Bank. We have Continent Bank that started operation in 1991, but due to liquidity challenges was also forced into compulsory liquidation in January 2003. Basically, that was a fair background in the historical evolution of the different institutions we had. I also wanted to lead you through the operations. When I joined the banking industry in 1999, even within the same institution, you couldn't have postings done across branches. If you have a customer drawing a check on Bank Yonna, you cannot actually post it to the other end of town. So we were using fax. I'm not sure whether still people use fax, but it seems it's been replaced by emails now and scanned copies. So the communication was so tough, and there was no interconnection between banks or among banks. We moved from there to having the banks interconnected and communicating. So we moved to that, to having banks in general saying branchless banking, where you could walk into any bank regardless of your account branch or which branch holds your account and conduct your transaction peacefully. We moved from that to having banks communicate. We had challenges even for banks to communicate and then to activate the interbank market. So now banks are communicating and then the interbank market is activated. We used to physically go to the central bank every day to the clearing house. And then you will go with the checks of the other banks that were drawn and passed through your bank, and that bank also will come with your checks that were passed through them. So we've seen that turn into an automation called the ACP-ACH, the automated check processing and the automated clearing house, the automatic check processing and the automated clearing house. We had seen the 4 components of the West African Monetary Zone being rolled out, which is the ACP-ACH, the real-time gross settlement system that encourages payments across banks using the SWIFT platform. We have also seen the security settlement system, where there can be repos or deals, interbank placements and undertakings between banks using the security settlement system as a collateral to facilitate trade. And then we have seen the GAM switch, which also looks at the retail payments. And then we've seen now how the GAM switch in retail payments have enabled you to walk to any ATM, regardless of whether it's your bank or it's not your bank, to be able to withdraw cash, although it comes with a minimal charge. So these are all evolutions we've gone through, from a manual-based system coming through a more electronic-based approach to servicing our customers. And then we've also seen now the challenge. Where is it heading to? Last year we spoke about the Yonna enterprise. We spoke about the British Sands. We were heading into the Yonna Islamic Microfinance. I believe it is launched and is doing well. You know, your hands together for that stride. But let's look at what's the greatest challenge that Yonna is facing now. Nowadays, it's no longer going with your physical check to your local branch. You can go with your check to any branch. It's no longer going to your bank only to access an ATM to make a withdrawal. You can go to any ATM within the GAM Switch network to actually access your funds. We move from there to saying, in fact, mobile applications. I'm sure Yonna has one or is working on one. Yeah. You have the Yonna mobile app, and you can use it to actually do a lot of things. But my friends, I'm reporting Haruna. I have not started my speech, and he's telling me I have 5 minutes left. Now we are going to agree. Are you going to be for me or against me? Hands up. For you. All right. Haruna, I have more than 5 minutes. But I'll try to be as disciplined as you want me to be to make it 5 minutes. But all I'm trying to bring in here is to let you know from the app now from the comfort of saying I have an ATM card to a comfort of saying I have a mobile app. And once you have a mobile app and your account is funded, you are free to do anything on your laptop. Just by your mobile, you can transfer funds everywhere else. So this comes with a risk, a great risk in terms of cyber security. The greatest risk that is identified in 2023 is cyber fraud, because most of what we used to do now is digitized. So digitization comes with comfort, but it comes with great risks. More often than not, you're hearing about the fraud cases. I was glad that when Dr. Sekou was presenting, he said 50% of them say, I don't want to be caught. I'm not surprised at all. Most of us are not stealing, not because we fear God. Religious reason is 2%, he said. But because we don't want to be embarrassed. You know, I would have preferred to see that to be to be the 50% instead of the 2%. But stay away from fraud, in summary. The challenge going forward, it's after the mobile app, we have seen mobile money operators coming up. Now, banking and microfinance institution is actually moving away from the brick and mortar setup to mobile branchless setups. But these are coming with attendant risks of loss of data. There are professional hackers who would sit the whole day, all they do is try to get into your system. It's our combined responsibility as an institution to protect Yonna, not to toy around or maliciously share information that will really put Yonna to the detriment of being hacked. And then you either move with the flow or you are left behind. Novelty is technology and we are moving ahead. If you don't want to join the bandwagon now, you'll be left few yards ago and you will not be able to service your customers the way you are supposed to say them. I believe I have 3 minutes left, Mr. Drown. I just wanted to encourage the entire Yonna family, but this is straight to management. People talked about execution. It's not about the masters you learn. It's not about the degrees you bagged. It's about when you bag them, how it has impacted on your critical mind analysis. How can you use it to impact others? How can you use it to change the way of thinking and then get the direction? There were very good writers about the powers of execution. And then they changed it into more or less 4 principles. Some of them, you know, different, Frank Covey, you can give their name, they've been repeating, and it has been a generation to generation set of people talking about it. If you ask the Yonna staff, what is the most significant thing that Srifo and Mr. Barrow are thinking of for 2023? Very few among you will be able to say it. And that's important, that as leaders, they communicate to you that our widely important goal this year is, for instance, security. We are going into IT-based services. We are going to cloud-based services. We have apps. If anybody hacks this, by the time we realize it, millions are moved to the other end of the planet, and you wouldn't know where they are. So what is the widely important goal? That needs to be communicated by the management to you guys and the board so that you all remain focused on what it is. And when that is established, you look at the lead factors. How could we achieve that security? What do we need to do individually, collectively, and as an institution? Then you have to get a balanced scorecard for that. How well are we thriving to ensure that the widely important goal, we have the lead factors that will give us the opportunity to gain them, but also we are measuring how much we are doing on them. But how do we reward doers and then those lagging behind? Very important. That's the final principle, you know, which is completely, and keep on meeting and reminding each other. Sirifo, you promised you were going to do this, but you didn't deliver on them. Mr. Barrow, you said you were going to do this, but you didn't deliver on it. So you create a peer pressure that will make you achieve your widely important goal. I think Haruna is standing up. This was just the little thing I wanted to share with you, and I want to thank you for your attention once again. And then Happy New Year, good luck to the Yonna family. Thank you.
Thank you, my boss. I appreciate the wise words. The Yonna family, I think we are following from Dr. Njai to Dr. Jabi to Mr. Mbu. You see the way they were chosen. They are connecting each other in their lectures if you really observe. One of the things that is standing out between the bankers are afraid of thieves. You can see Dr. Jabi, fraud, fraud, fraud. Mr. Mboob, fraud, fraud, fraud. But yes, the evolution of banking and technology, really you cannot do anything in the world today without technology. We've seen it. It has happened to several commercial banks here when a person will deposit, say, 100,000 in Banjul, quickly go to one branch, withdraw 50,000. You know what used to happen? Because somebody in that branch will call head office and say, is this person liquid? Yeah, he is. As a check of 50,000. Okay, go ahead. They withdraw 50,000. They go to another big branch, withdraw 50,000. They can go to 4 branches in one day, withdraw 50, 50, 50, 50. Before the bank will realize what's going on, they're indebted by 100,000. Now, digital technology has really largely improved that for us. But we have also seen recently with the central bank being very generous to a few people. So some people were millionaires overnight, huh? We saw it. But some people are so fast that by 8 a.m. they were going to banks and withdrawing monies they didn't have. But because they saw the credit alert on text to say, you have $1.2 million. My brother, you know your salary is $5,000, 600. You have never seen $1 million in your life. All of a sudden you're a millionaire. And then I hear some people are calling commercial banks and negotiating. Can I pay it every month for the next 2 years? You only took the money 5 hours ago. Where did the money go to? You cannot be as fast as, in the words of Dr. Njai, get a manual in 5 hours. I hope not. Even the fullers that are quickly giving off their daughters, they will not do it that quickly. Mr. Louis Sarkis is our next speaker. He's president of the licensed Forex bureaus. We wanted to tap into his wisdom so he can share a few words with the Yonna family here today. Mr. Sarkis.
Thank you, Mr. Jammeh. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this is a pleasant surprise because I was not informed that I was going to speak this evening. But all the same, I think I can share with you some few words. Now, first of all, I would like to congratulate Yonna, Bureau de Change or Foreign Exchange Bureau, for this forum that they have organized today. When I got the invitation, I got to understand it's about retreat and staff awards, which really I think I cherished the organization of this sort of forum, because staff, members of staff for any organization, they are very, very much important because they are the driving force behind the success of the company. So the fact that they are gathered and they are rewarded for the services that they have rendered for the company would really encourage them going forward. Now, Yonna, I think I will have to commend them because since they became a Bureau de Change, I think I was then the president of the association because I'm serving 2 terms, I think. Yeah. Before then, I was part of the executive. And I realized when they just initially started, so quickly they were able to spread all over. And of course, one thing I liked about them, they were very mindful about compliance, which is the bedrock for Bureau de Change in this country. Now, apparently, Shirifo is a member of the executive of the Association of Licensed Forex Bureau, Alpha. And he served, I think that's his third time he served, because he's been very diligent, you know, within the executive. And he's been very supportive as well. And most of the time when we visit the governor of the central bank to discuss the challenges that the bureaus are facing, he will always accompany us, and his contributions are always very vital. So really, I think I am pleased that I have been given the opportunity to attend this forum. But because of the fact that, as I said, I was not giving, I never realized I was going to make a speech. But when I got in here, I mean, he sent me a text just about 40 minutes before I arrived. And I told him, but the program is for 15:15, which is 3:15. So then it clicked to me that I hope he's not trying to get me to make a speech. I would have been able to prepare myself well, you know, in terms of saying other things about, you know, Yonna and, of course, the Forex Bureau. But because I was really taking unawares, I think I will only have to commend him and thank him so much. And I will encourage, I always say this because I think I have been invited to such forums. There are a few other bureaus who have organized things like this, you know, forums like this to be able to reward their staff and so on. But before I take my seat, one thing that is important is digitalization, as it was well spoken here. When I just got in, I think Mr. Mbub was saying about something about digitalization. Bureaus now are facing a very, very big challenge because they feel the business is going to be taken over by, this digitalization, especially those with wallets. So there is a panic mood within the bureaus. So I think the digitalization is a very important component of running the business. Apart from any other thing, it will make compliance, regulation very, very easy, because you can get the data you want, accuracy of reports, and all this. You can have all of this within the click of a button. But although the underlying factor and risk is, of course, as we say, fraud and so on, security is very important. So without much ado, I would want to thank you very much for giving me this privilege to say something about you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sarkis. The most interesting part of why we're here today. So, we are quite represented here. I understand my children also are here. So please, Badibunkas, behave yourselves. Please, I don't want any trouble. Are there any Badibunkas here? Please, ignore the high table. Ignore the high table. Are there any Badibunkas here? Okay, one Badibunka. Two Badibunkas. Any Kiankas here? Please ignore the high table. Any Kiankas here? Okay, we are selling Kian for free. So we have been here for 14 years as Yonna. It's 223 of you. And the math was done here earlier by my Kianka, the guy who gave the Umrah award to the Keneba people. That if you can imagine 300 times 300, I was trying to do my math, it failed me. That's huge. 300 times 300. I hope he did the math. Where is he? The Kianka is running away. I think he's somewhere here behind me. So we're doing the awards to staff across the board. You have made the last 14 years very impactful for Yonna Group. You are the bedrock, you are the rock stars, you are the people that make the difference every day. And today is dedicated to you. I'd like to just make one point very clear, which is very difficult in Gambia. Customer service, customer service, customer service. One of the speakers said this here, and he happened to be a Kianka. Sometimes you can be serving your boss's parent, your boss's family. But that's not even the most important. We're here 14 years because we've been caring for people who in return appreciate our services. So going for another 14 years, please put that at the bedrock of everything that you do. Attention to detail, smile, serve, be there, care to the customer. That's what will let any business survive, especially in this very competitive world. It's key to do that. But to show appreciation from Yonna Group and management, ownership management from the board, the managing director, the general manager, senior management, middle management, and everybody in the name of Yonna, we are going to be giving out 69 awards here. And all 69 of these awards are given to you. So we'd like to call Mr. Omar Mboub to help us begin the award ceremonies, as he will help us with the first 7 awardees. So maybe you whisper the names to me. Aisatu Kamara, you are the most outstanding staff of the year. Aisatu Kamara, the most outstanding staff of the year. Please, come forward. In addition to the award, we are presenting to you $75,000 to appreciate you. You know how many bags of rice $75,000 you can buy? So you know us that give the pass in this country? Seriously, I think in bags of rices, right? That's what I do. I am not an economist, as some of the people here. So any amount of money you tell me, I think, manabono jellebo okon. Compliance. So Ngone gets the award plus $25,000. Ngone comes from Kaur branch, Dandimayo. And as we are representing everywhere in the country, the next risk and compliance awardee is Mariama Ju. And Mariama comes from Koina branch. She also has $25,000 in addition to the award. Thank you, thank you. And the next award goes to something that Gambians are not good at. Time consciousness. The most timely and attendance winning staff of the Yonna across the board comes from Wasu. Bakari Konta. And Bakari gets $20,000 as well. Another problem we have, Dr. Jammeh talked about it. Discipline. Discipline. Live within your means, what you have. But discipline yourself enough to do the things you need to do when you need to do them and how you need to do them. And he's a fuller man. From Wasu, Muhammadu Jallo. And he gets $15,000 as well. From Demba Kunda, apparently, sorry. Demba Kunda. Muhammadu Jallo, Demba Kunda. And the next award goes to Usman Jata, Brusubi branch, and he also has $25,000. And he is the winner for customer service. $25,000 goes to him as well. And we know banking and finance cannot go without supervision. So Supervisor of the Year is Mr. Babukar Njai, Westfield Zone, and he has $35,000 as well. The Kodo is important. Thank you, my boss. Thank you very much, Mr. Bob. Thank you so much. Mr. Sidi Kanyi, Managing Director of GTSC, will help me do the next awards. Mr. Kanyi, please. Please in the middle, sir, so the photographers can get good pictures. And, well, looking good is a sunnah. So this next award goes to the Dress Code Person of the Year, male category, Mr. Musa Jabi. And you have $15,000 to buy more costs. Thank you so much. And the next female censor cat of the year is Jacqueline Mendy. And you have $15,000 here as well. Jacqueline Mendy. Ah, why sansanga nak Jacqueline? Ah, li degala nak sansanga re. Mashallah. What is a job without a commitment? The next 3 awards will go to 3 of the most committed staff. And we will start with Sarata Sambu. And Sarata gets $15,000. Old Yundum branch. And Mr. Yahya Jammeh works at head office reconciliation. He is one of the committed staff who wins $15,000 here as well. Aisatu Bari, customer service and marketing at head office, also wins $15,000. So this is the last one. He will do the last one. Yes. Well, we have a category of the most proactive staff. They each will win $25,000. So we're starting with postings and reconciliations, Mr. Bubakar Jallo. Head of Department for Postings and Reconciliation. Well, reconciliation folks are getting all our $25,000. Margaret Agnes Mendy, $25,000. Okay, now we're going to reconciliation. You are done, huh? The next 25 is not going to you. Mr. Musa Dambeli, $25,000. Marketing and Business Development, Mr. Musa Dambeli. Thank you so much, Mr. Kanyi. You may take. Appreciate. Mr. Yamkuba Mambure, Yonna Islamic Microfinance. Can you help us with the next set of awards? Thank you, Mr. Mambure. Please in the middle so we can get the photographers. The last of the most proactive staff is Fatu Suno, and she gets $25,000. And Fatu Suno is from Marketing and Business Development. The next 10 awards will be appreciation awards, and we will begin with, each of them will also win $10,000 for appreciation. Ibrahima Kurubali is the first. Ibrahima Kurubali is at Basse branch, and he gets $10,000. Mr. Barrow, please, I want only 5% of all these prizes we are giving here. Just 5%, not much. 5%. Silibo, 5% up. That will be my street tax. Mr. Ismaila Sonko, Supervisor, Bansang Branch. He gets $10,000 here as well. Mati Cham, Head Office, Reconciliation Department. Mani Botolulu. And we are going to CRR, Fatu Konate Brikamaba. Dalasi Bulita. Bamboo Tree Branch, Antoinette Korea. Antoinette? Ah, that's her coming. Okay. Thank you so much. The next appreciation award goes to Mr. Aliu Kamara, Brikama. Mane Botolulu. These compliance people, you are sure complying with yourselves. Aisa Tunjai, Compliance Head Office. Sunkari Ture, Supervisor, Bambozo.
You want something? No. She was here. I was on behalf of one of our staff.
Congratulations. And thank you, Mr. Mambure. Thank you so much. May we have Mr. Bekai Dabo help us with the next last appreciation? Is the last one? Okay, who is the star? That's the end of that set of awards. We're now going to special awards. And the first to win, these compliance people. Mamina Njai, Head of Compliance. Compliance, Mamina Njai. These special awards also attract a prize of $10,000. And we go to Reconciliation Department, Mr. Mustafa Sanyang. Mustafa wins 10K as well. Congratulations. Mr. Omar Toure, Reconciliation. $10,000 as well. Oh, internal control. Omar Toure, internal control. Hawa R. Mendy, Talinding Branch. Okay, supervisor will pick on behalf of Hawa.
Pronounce the supervisor's name, Babakar Njai.
Babakar Njai is collecting on her behalf. Pakaliba in the Jaras, Yahya Mane. And Yahya gets $10,000 as well. The supervisor is collecting on behalf of Yahya, Musa Dabo. We are going into Kiang. Bakare B. Dabo, and trust me, it's not Bunja, I suppose. He gets $10,000 here as well. So B. Dabo. Are you also Bunja? Oh, okay, the supervisor is collecting as well. Baka Unkolu, Aja Kanyi, Bakau. Thank you, Mr. Dabo. Appreciate. Thank you so much. Dr. Matar Njai, if you could assist us with the next set of awards, please, sir. Special awards, huh? Still on the special awards. Chaku Bantam, Badebu Capital. Aisatu Silla, Faratej. We have a male Aisatu collecting. So the supervisor is collecting for her. We're still on the special awards. Amdallah, I think it's a short for Alhamdulillah. But Amdallah Tutisar. Tutisar Amdallah. Boratang. I can collect for Tuti, you know. Just change the check in my name. Tuti Sar, Amdalai. The supervisor will collect. Oh, Tuti is... Oh, okay, you know about the bunkers, the shoes were off. Okay, Tuti, we'll give you all the time in the world. Don't worry, huh? Take your time. Well, let's some food around. Okay. You know Badibunka, Sibika Kunimbake. Thank you, Tuti. Thank you, Amdalai. Ensa Gasama Tabokoto. Mariama Jobate Tipagaras. Mariama Jobate. Maneboto Lulu. Congratulations. And Fabala Kinte Burfoot. But I hope it's not the chief Fabala Kinte of Balibu. They are my children, after all. Okay, the biggest tollers of the Gambia, Gunjur, and it goes to Sanadabo. Sanadabo, Gunjurun Kol, Tolle. Elam Gunjur Gol Sana. Sa, man. Tolle Dun Kol. Mamadou F. Jallo Basse Yuara. We're still on the special awards, 10,000 each. My people are here. Mohammed Sankare Garawal. No, Sarahul Batale Mohammed, you are indicating it. Hi, you're in your class. Hi, you are bad. Well, what else can you be if you come from Basse Damfa Kunda? Ansu Damfa. Marketing and Business Development, Sanu Saho. Sanu Saho. Thank you, Dr. Njai. Thank you very much. Thank you. With pleasure, we'll now like to call on Mr. Bakari Marong, BJM, to help us with the next set of awards, please. Oh, is that Badibuka? Can you imagine? You know, the thing with Badibu is if they want to confuse you, they'll tell you Kinta Kunda, Jana Kunda, Kinta Kunda, Marong Kunda, Janaya. So you'll assume it's the same place. So, GRTS in the 90s, I went there. Ngara Kinta Kunda, Jana Kunda, no, Kinta Kunda, Marong Kunda, Janaya. Man, I was walking between these three. But they're cheats, huh? They tell you that assuming that you think these three villages are just together. They are not. So even Marankunda, where he comes from, is very far from the other one.
They have India. India, a whole country.
Yeah, how can you have India in Gambia? I mean, the only thing they made a mistake of is not having Pakistan, because that would be disastrous. Mr. Maron, long time. How are you, sir? Good, good, good. The frames are done by BJM as well. And the special awards continue with Adama Kamara, Bansang branch. We're still on Bansang branch, Sajo Kanyi. Bambo 1, Madam Baji. Madam Baji, a male madam is coming. He is collecting on behalf of the real madam, I think. Oh, are you Madam Baji, sir? You're not madam, okay. I'm not sure. You know, these days, you have to call people by the names they prefer. You look at a man and they'll tell you I'm a female. You have to accept it. So, I have no problem calling you madam, sir. Ibrahima Jobate Bakadaji. Lamin Jabi Jara Soma. Fatumata Fofana. Fatumata Fofana. Serakunda branch, Fatumata Fofana. The supervisor will receive on her behalf. Going back to Badibu Chakubantan, Kombe Mbai, Parapenya. So we are going to let the two Badibunkas meet. Fatumata Silla Salekanye Badibu. Silla kunanko kameneke Badibu itam sada kulolti. Imayatala tolele ay fana. Congratulations, Fatumata. Thank you so much, Mr. Marong. You left your money behind you. Thank you, Mr. Marong. Thank you so much. Mr. Louis Sarkis, please, if you can help us with the next set of awards, sir. We're still on the appreciation. We are continuing the appreciation awards, $10,000 each. And we're going to Nyomi Berending, Ibrahima Sise. Sisa kunankol domoro donon. Ah, sisa karanta domori, sisa mankaran domori. Domori mansa. Karamba Conte, $10,000. Kunting. Nyani Kunting. Busumbala Branch, Amadou Dabo, $10,000. And that's the last of the appreciation awards. That's the next one. How many names? The next 10 winners will be special awards by the managing director, and they are phones that are very expensive. You know, even if you are not smart, if you have a smartphone, you'll be half smart. Mr. Sarkis, you are still going to award those 10 phones. Yes, sir. So, the first one goes to Lamin Dabo, Supervisor, Bara Branch. The phones are worth $25,000, so they are special award categories. Mr. Musa Dabo, Supervisor, Jara Soma. Modul Lamin Sekan, Reconciliation. All the Managing Director Special Awards are Samsung phones worth $25,000. Ya Fatu Ba, Treasury. So now no excuses, huh? If MD calls you, you have to answer that. So my telephone will be giving you a new phone. Alright, Ya Fatu. And thank you, Mr. Sarkis. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Lamin Jai, if you can help us. Nana, help us with the next set of awards. Mr. Lamin Jai. So we'll continue with the special awards by the Managing Director. Samsung smartphones. Samba C, Supervisor Parapeni. Samba C, Supervisor Parapeni. No, you deserve a smartphone. This is living in this is no pay boy. You deserve a smartphone. Eh, si sekunda Ibrahim Sise, Bruce B. Si sekunda mkono jibeba, mana domorla. Ha, ita domorla di tonyala, domor mansa. Base Supervisor, Bakari Mane. Bakari Mane Base. Special award, we're still on the Managing Director Special Awards, Samsung smartphones, $25,000. Ibrahim Sawane, Tabokoto. Sawane, Tabokoto. So I don't understand this. Reconciliation. Is the MD trying to bribe you guys so that you will reconcile well? I don't understand it. You're winning a lot of awards, huh? So do we give this or we keep it? We give it? We give it. We give it. Huh? We just give it. Favor, huh? Which one is this one? Modu Silla. Reconciliation. No, reconciliation is still winning. That's the debate we're having here. Do we give it or do we keep it? So we give it? We give it. We give it, huh? Hey, you know, fullers and money. Alpha Diallo. You reconciliation people, reconcile well in this new year. Reconcile, oh. We're reconciling. We are reconciling. Let us finish the reconciliation. Thank you, Mr. Njai. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I don't see the board chairman. He's here. Board chairman is here. Where's board chairman? Oh, okay. I thought it was the other one. Board chair, you have to be back here, sir. I thought it was the other guy. Okay. Mr. Chairman, please. This is too heavy. I cannot carry this. I cannot carry this. The most valuable staff of Yonna, Mr. Moderator. $50,000 goes to Mr. Barrow. Quite the gentleman Mr. Barrow is. And we've had my Kianka rate praises on him. When I started working with Yonna, they were at Bambo. It was a small office. And the most thing that you see is Sirifo and Barrow together like twins. And so it's really important in partnerships and working jointly. See, staff turnover is the biggest challenge in corporate Gambia. But working together in partnership and being each other's bedrock, supporting each other, that's what I saw in them. And that's probably why the success we are talking about today also exists. When people stick together, they understand each other, they work together. Together, that's when we lead to success land. And Mr. Momodo Barrow, really, appreciation is due to you and very well deserved. The longest serving staff, Madam Fatu Cham, $30,000. So Madam herself has won herself many bags of rice, which I will claim one. No, Madam, okay, I forgive the bag of rice, you can take it. From Diabugu Batapa. And Mr. Chairman, we'd like to really crave your indulgence. This is the most loyal staff of Yonna, and we wanted you to just also do this award. And you know, Gambian women are the most trustworthy. Go to how much you Kadi Sise, the most loyal staff of Yonna. Really, Gambian women are very loyal. Kadi, congratulations. Dalasi wuli tan saba. Na fulo la min jere. Mr. Chairman, one more before we release you. Apparently it's two more. Forever with us award. I guess this is like a marriage, till death do your part. Kadi Jata, $30,000. Khadijata forever with us. Okay, the last award. Seriously, I don't know how you guys come with these names, but interesting. And it goes to Domorla Sisekunda. Forever grateful. Beyond grateful to my Kiaka friend here, Mr. Sise Lamin. We can release chairman now. Mr. Chairman, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, very well deserved indeed. So it's another list that we have who will be winning coupons. We're going to list them. Let's just say the names and they can collect from you at the office tomorrow. $20. Okay, we're looking for a list. Okay, and this list, everybody will win 20-liter cooking oil, vegetable, and a bag of rice. But please come to the office and collect it. We cannot bring all the bags of rice here, huh, Abby? So, so let's just clap for them as I call their names, and the awards will be collected from head office tomorrow. Aminata Fati from head office. Fatumata Jammeh, also from head office. Or Fatumata Jammeh, head office. Kadi Jammeh Tabokoto. Ami Sumbundu Burusubi. Bambo, Ami Sumbundu Bambo. Jalika Sabali Brikama. Fatou Sise Farafenye. Alaji Kamara Basse. Sajo Jawo Bansan. Each of you will win a bag of rice and 20-liter cooking oil. Congratulations to everybody. And I think this brings us to the end of the award ceremony and to the end of my role as well. So Mr. Sise, maybe I should give you back your microphone. Amanda, before. So congratulations to all the awardees and to all the staff of Yonna. Everyone is a winner. And the celebration today here speaks very loudly of management's commitment into empowering but also improving staff and professionalism within the institution. And I'm very happy to be here and to be a part of this ceremony.
Yes, for this one, Mr. Jammeh will continue the moderation, but then those of you that still share contacts with me and we communicate very frequent. And we've talked a lot about loyalty, we've talked a lot about dedication and commitment to the work that we're doing. And today you have reaped the fruit that you have definitely sowed. So I think I want to applaud each and every one of you to continue the hard work, to continue the good work, to continue the commitment. No one knows where it stops. This is just the beginning of the success. This is just the commencement of the success. We want to come here next year and see an award to the most outstanding staff. You see, on annual basis, it increases. So probably next most outstanding staff is going to be Ajakanya. I'm texting you for that. So, but please, my staff, I'm very much grateful and happy, and that each of you have come back here with good health and happiness. And today is a very happy day for all of you, and you're going back to your families very safely. And we really want to be grateful for the management for the award that you've given me. I wasn't expecting an award, to be honest with you, but then I've received the award, and I'm very much grateful from Managing Director, General Manager, the entire management, and the rest of the staff across the length and breadth of the country. So I want to say thank you very much. Let's keep up the good work. Yonna forever. Next year, before 2025, we want to launch a commercial bank in the country. Yonna Bank before 2025. That's the target, and we move towards it, and together we can make it. You can do it. When the company needs you in terms of challenges, no matter the danger, no matter the circumstances, you are there for the company, and the company recognizes this job very well. So I want to say thank you very much, and to the rest of the staff out there and the entire management. And I have also realized that we have our former staffs here present, because for me, anyway, I don't know my status, whether I'm a staff or not. But we have former staffs around. Mr. Lamin Sise, we want to say thank you very much for coming. And we have Mr. Ibrahim Mane, who is also around in attendance, former IT officer. We have Mr. Lamin Damfa, who is also around, Uncle Abbas, who is an ambassador to the company. And we are very much grateful for all of you coming, and whoever and whose name is called or not. And we are very much grateful for everybody coming to today's occasion. So thank you very much. MD, I make a thing but your maths, you need to read it. 300 times 300. Then the employment rate.
I will not be able to do that. If it's money, I will tell you how much it is. Now, but since you're talking about numbers that have no bearing with a G or USD mark or euro before it, I will not know it. But please ask me money in any language I can answer, because I speak money. But we know the cameras are here, we know the CSs are here, and then we know even the tourists are here. And we've seen Sirifo, he's twisting, he's turning in the chair, because lunch has not been served. So I can promise you, we're going to do one quick speech and general remarks, then we'll break for lunch. So all of us can nyam nyam. And Mr. Momodou Barrow, the General Manager, will want you to share a few remarks with us before we go for lunch.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to thank the Board of Directors of Yonna Group. Here with us is the Board Chair for the Forex. And we also want to thank the panelists, Mr. Omar Ngo, is our big brother. We are very grateful to you for coming to our events, even though we call you on certain days. But we promise you that next time around, we will give you, a lot of time for you to prepare yourself to come to our event. And then we also want to thank the President of Alpha, Mr. Luis Sagis. And then we want to thank BJM, Mr. Bakar Maro and the wife, and Geneva. We are very thankful to you people for your effort. And then we want to thank our friends who are here with us today. Notably, Mr. Lamin Jai, thank you so much. He's been my classmate. And then we also want to thank our former staffs that are here with us today. They left for a very good reasons. They are all here with us today. Our former MD, UNSI Microfinance, Lamin, thank you so much for coming. And then Ibrahim and the rest of the team. Yeah, we also want to thank the press for coming to grace this occasion with us yearly. We are very, very thankful for your coverage, and we hope that the message will spread to the larger public. And then we also want to thank Mr. Haruna Drame, our media consultant. We've been working with Haruna for many, many years. And then we are also extremely happy to the CEO of Yonna for giving us all the support. He has been behind us for all these achievements. Last year, I remembered when Mr. Mbu challenged us to make sure that we try to bring in a new business. And then we have not been able to bring a new business this year, but we promise you that we will be able to do something this year. Last year, but this year, we should be able to see a new business in the name of Yonna. But I think we should also notice that the numbers have improved greatly. And then this year, we have about 223 employees of Yonna as compared to last year, which is a great achievement. We are also extremely happy with our staffs that are here with us. They've been doing the hard work. Basically, all we are doing is solely to coordinate, points that are missing. But they've been very grateful. They have done a great thing during the past year, and then we hope that we will continue to do more in the coming years. And expectations are high. You see all the cameras here. Every one of our core customers or potential customers will judge us what we have said here today. And then we hope that next year, when we gather here, we will be able to tell the true stories of Yonna and what were the expectations, are they achieved, or what are the challenges? Do we really ensure that we are able to really commit to our word? We will be accountable for all those things, and I hope that we will continue to do that. And then also want to thank our partners that we are working with for the past years. NANA, National Nutrition Agency, represented by Mr. Lamini Jai, Social Security, MRC, Marshall Security, 5-Star Security, Jalungo Foundations, BGM. They've been brilliant, and they were behind the scenes for a lot of success stories that we've been able to register during all these years. So we equally want to thank our families for allowing us to really continue to work. Like I've said, Yonna's work, sometimes people will ask us whether we are doing a double shift. It is not a double shift, it's just a single shift. Because we've been able to commit ourselves to the work that we are doing. That makes us all special, and that is why I want to thank all our families for really accepting that this is the work conditions, and then we are committed to it, then they allow us to do the work. We equally want to thank our former HR officer, Mr. Honorable Lagan Sise, and he has done a fantastic job last year, and then this year he's here with us, and we hope that his good will continue, even though he moves on, in other field of life. So I want to really thank our brother from Senegal, Mr. Yunus Touré, who is a manager for Yonna office in Senegal. Yunus, please, can you stand, and then so that people will see you. And then also to, friends of Serifo from Yonna village. They are here. Mr. Serifo. Come on, he's here with us. Bambo, they are all here with us today. So we thank you so much. This is not only a Yonna issue, but also everybody is involved. Everybody is a stakeholder of Yonna. Sometimes we are in Kiang for the presentation of the awards to our deserving winner of the Umrah package. I think we can see the information here with us. And it happens that the guys never come from Kiang, but he won himself the prize in Kiang. So that's why we went to Kiang to do the presentation. But he's from Badigo actually. Yeah. So I just want to correct that. He's from Badigo. Yeah. I just want to correct that information. Yeah. So he works for the road construction team, and then he went to Keneba branch, and it happens that transaction happened to be the lucky winner for the first draw. So we've done the second draw also. Very soon, the beneficiary will be announced to the public, and then everybody will know about it. So we have 3 more winners for the draw. We are encouraging everybody to use our service so that we can be part of this lucky draw. It's still open until the end of January, so we still have a lot of time to really subscribe to this wonderful promotion. On that note, I really want to thank my colleagues, staff here at the microfinance end, they are here with us here, Mr. Sisao and the rest of the team, Mr. Naso, and then also from the enterprise side. I cannot really conclude without thanking my wife for really being very supportive, and then also Mr. Toure for everything. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for coming once again. I pray that next year, this time around, we'll be celebrating this true success of Yonna. And then Sambu, we will be able to really tell you good news about our business. So thank you so much, guys. And I pray that we will next time around. Thank you.
Okay. Time for nyam. Some of us who want to eat, please, let us disperse. Fatu, what is the food arrangement? Why is Fatiam? What is the food arrangement? Badibunkas first, everybody last? Everybody last. I don't know what the lunch arrangement is, so Lamin Sise? Okay, in the garden. Okay, let's go to the garden, and probably food is already there waiting.